أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الصلاة والسلام على رسولنا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه وأتباعه وسلم. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. So for the past 3 weeks, we have been studying author's self-journey about how he was dealing with his troubles in life and how he said that he was trying to find some sort of support without looking at his creator. He was just looking at his own self, and he couldn't find any support. The only thing that was left for him was his freedom of choice. And he said it was not capable of creating anything, doing anything, producing anything. Then he realized another perspective on looking at his choice and seeing that it's a tool for using it as, I'm just summarizing, using it as a means to make dua or supplicate, show my neediness, declare my neediness before my creator, and realize that he is the one who takes care of things. And I don't carry any burden anyways, physically speaking, but also mentally, spiritually, easing myself from this load and submitting to my creator. Now, the text today that we will study is following right after that one. This is again from the 17th word, page number 228 in the book, The Birds. This is going to be about the verse that when Ibrahim alayhi salam looks at the stars, moon, and then the sun, and when he sees them setting in his journey for finding his sustainer, his provider, he says, but when it set, he said, I love not those that set. So that is going to be our topic today. And we need some volunteer to read for us. I don't know if Sister Aisha would like to volunteer. If not, then Sister Zareen, I guess. All right. Jazakallah khairan.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. It made me weep, the verse, I love not those that set, which was uttered by Abraham, peace be upon him, and announces the universe's passing and death. The eyes of my heart wept at it, pouring out bitter teardrops. Each teardrop was sorely sad, as the eyes of my heart wept. The verse causes others to weep, and as though weeps itself. The following lines in Persian are my teardrops. They are a sort of commentary of some words present within the divine word of God's wise one, the Prophet Muhammad, upon whom be peace. A beloved who is hidden through setting is not beautiful, for those doomed to decline cannot be truly beautiful. They may not be loved with the heart, which is created for eternal love, and is the mirror of the eternally besought one, and should not be loved with it. A desired one who is doomed to be lost on setting, such a one is not worthy of the heart's attachment, the mind's preoccupation. He may not be the object of desires. He is not worthy of being regretted with the sorrow and grief that follows. So why should the heart worship such a one and be bound to him? One sought who is lost in ephemerality, I do not want such a one. For I am ephemeral, I do not want one who is thus. What should I do? A worshipped one who is buried in death, I shall not call him, I shall not seek refuge with him. For I am infinitely needy and impotent. One who is impotent can find no cure for my boundless ills. He can spread no salve on my eternal wounds. How can one who cannot save himself from death be an object of worship? Indeed, the reason, which is obsessed with externals, cries out despairingly at seeing the deaths of the things it worships in the universe. And the spirit, which seeks for an eternal beloved, utters the cry, I love not those that set. I do not want separation. I do not desire separation. I cannot abide separation. Meetings followed immediately by separation are not worth sorrow and grief. They are not worthy of being longed for. For just as the passing of pleasure is pain, imagining the passing of pleasure is also a pain. The works of all the metaphorical lovers, that is, the works of poetry on love, are all cries at the pain arising from imagining this passing. If you were to constrain the spirit of all the works of poetry, from each would flow these grievous cries. Thus, it is due to the pain and tribulations of those meetings stained with transitoriness, those sorrowful metaphorical loves, that my heart weeps and cries through the weeping of, I love not those that set. If you want permanence in this transitory world, permanence comes from transitoriness. Find transience with regard to your evil commanding soul, so that you may be enduring. Divest yourself of bad morals, the basis of the worship of this world. Be transitory. Sacrifice your goods and property in the way of the true beloved. See the ends of beings, which point to non-existence, for the way leading to permanence in this world starts from transitoriness. The human mind, which plunges into causes, is bewildered at the upheavals of the passing of the world and laments despairingly, while the conscience, which desires true existence, severs the connection with metaphorical beloveds and transient beings through crying like Abraham, peace be upon him, I love not those that set, and it binds itself to the truly existent one and eternal beloved. O my ignorant soul, know that the world and its beings are certainly ephemeral, but you may find a way leading to permanence in each ephemeral thing, and may see two flashes, two mysteries, of the manifestations of the undying beloved's beauty. Yes, it is within the bounty that the bestowal is to be seen, and the favor of the most merciful perceived. If you pass from bounty to bestowal, you will find the bestower. Also, each work of the eternally besought one makes known the all-glorious Maker's names like a missive. If you pass from the decoration to the meaning, you will find the one signified by way of his names. Since you can find the kernel, the essence of these ephemeral beings, obtain it. Then, without pity, you can throw away their meaningless shells and externals onto the flood of ephemerality. Among beings, there is no work which is not a most meaningful embodied word and does not cause to be read numerous of the glorious Maker's names. Since beings are words, words of power, read their meanings and place them in your heart. Fearlessly cast words without meaning onto the winds of transience. Do not concern yourself looking behind them, needlessly occupying yourself. Since the chain of thought of the worldly mind, which worships externals and whose capital consists of quote-unquote objective knowledge, leads to nothingness and non-existence, it cries out despairingly in its bewilderment and frustration. It seeks a true path leading to reality. Since the spirit has withdrawn from those that set, and the ephemeral and the heart has given up its metaphorical beloveds, and the conscience, too, has turned its face from transitory beings, you, too, my wretched soul, attract the assistance of I love not those that set, like Abraham, upon him be peace, and be saved. See how well Maulana Jami expressed it, whose nature was kneaded with love and who was intoxicated with the cup of love.
You can skip that part.
Okay. That is, 1, want only one, the rest are not worth wanting. 2, call one, the others will not come to your assistance. 3, seek one, the rest are not worth it. 4, see one, the others are not seen all the time. They hide themselves behind the veil of ephemerality. 5. No one. Knowledge other than that which assists knowledge of him is without benefit. 6. Say one. Words not concerning him may be considered meaningless. Yes, Jemmy, you spoke the truth absolutely. The true beloved, the truly sought one, the true desired one, the true object of worship is he alone. For in a mighty circle for the mentioning of the divine names, this world together with all its beings and their different tongues and various songs declares, there is no God but God. Together they testify to divine unity. And binding the wound caused by I love not those that set, point to an undying beloved in place of all the metaphorical beloveds, attachment to whom has been severed.
Jazakallah khairan.
Cool.
So that's an interesting text, but also when we are reading this, let's try to see how author is interpreting this verse from Quran. You know the story, but just to remind where this verse is going. So when Ibrahim alayhi salam just doesn't take what his community has been worshipping, and I can quickly tell you. So it's going to be 6. So it's going to be 676. So he first is uneasy with what his society is offering him. Okay, there it is. Okay. So in verse number 74, he confronts his father with what he and his people are worshiping. So he is not satisfied with what the people are doing. And then the following verse says, and thus we showed Abraham, وَكَذَلْكَ نُرِي إِبْرَاهِيمَ مَلَكُوتَ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ. We show Abraham the kingdom of the heavens and the earth, that he might be of those possessing certainty. And then his journey starts there. When the night outspread over him, he beheld a star and said, this is my Lord. But when it went down, when it set, he said, I do not love the things that go down, or I do not love those that set. So certain things were being offered to him from society as his Lord, his sustainer, his provider. It could be, I guess, and this is what we are trying to do here, as the author himself did. I guess in the society that we live in, there are certain things that are considered as our sustainer, provider. So how do we apply this verse to ourselves? And Ibrahim alayhi salam was applying this in his case as, I do not love those that set. It's not worthy to be loved by me. It's not worthy for me to get attached to. And inshallah, let's try to understand this story in our lives and try to interpret this verse for ourselves. Inshallah, today's discussion is going to be about that. And we have several people here which has their own attachments, I guess, or the things that we love. What does it mean that I do not love those that set? Any initial comments? Natalia, we have a microphone over there.
So I have this thing that's bothering me, and I didn't know like if I wanted to say it, but I guess that I do want to cover it at some point in the discussion, which is in general, like I learned that the human has wants, and that's what dua is for. To know your creator, to connect with your creator, to realize you're needy because you have all these wants and needs. So what do we do with those things that we naturally want, right? Like how can we or I think that the language is a little bit, I guess dangerous, because I'm saying like you should love your husband, right? Some like like yeah, like I can imagine, it's a very dark example, but I can imagine a more like a guy saying like, I don't love you, why should I love you, I love only my creator, and that doesn't sound right either. So that's what I mean by the language is a little bit like dangerous, and how we can interpret this the right way and not the wrong way.
I guess very legitimate question for a newlywed person. She doesn't want to get into trouble.
The part I don't understand that the text is about not loving those who set, and the first thing came to your mind is your husband is getting old. That
This reminds me of a brother who used to attend the discussion. So we were talking about causality, and it was bothering him. But we then, in one discussion, he confessed why it was bothering him. Said when they first got married, his wife was cooking so bad. But then after 2-3 years, he said, now my wife is cooking so good, and now you are telling me not to thank her. So it was going to cause a trouble in the home. So you are saying, how do I do this? Because if I'm going to thank my creator, my wife is also waiting for some sort of offering things. But yeah, I think these are nice and genuine questions, and we wouldn't like to cause trouble in home for sure. Yes, any comments? There are other married people. How do you deal with your spouses? Or we can start from easier examples if you like. I mean, husband, wife, children, I guess these are getting closer to the heart for sure. But how about your careers? Because our careers are taking a good portion of our life. Actually, Abdurrahman was saying that now that he is in parental leave, he just realized that he's a human being now that he's not working for the past 3-4 months, and he doesn't want to go back to work. But once you're in there, you're not only 8 hours a day, but your life is there. And you just get into this vortex, and it just drains all your energy. All your plans are made according to this. Like your vacation plans, the child is going to this school, that school. It should be a nearby school so that, the traffic and like entire life is planned around this career goals. You like it or dislike it. I don't know if we dislike it, I guess we have an impulse to make a change this way or that way.
So this is this ayah, and the entire story is indeed very fundamental. Like the story of the Abraham is almost like at the core of everything we study, at the core of every text we read, because the story is about looking for your Rabb, your Lord, your sustainer, and deciding whether a candidate that you see is worthy or not, or is it your true Lord or not. This is the entire story is about, right? And this story is teaching us the most important, the method that we keep using, which is La ilaha illallah, right? It's teaching us this La ilaha part. How you look around you, how you look at your life and decide who is your Lord. So we can take these I don't like those who said as in different ways for sure. But I guess the at the core is if something cannot exist by itself, so that's what it means to set, right? The star is there for a moment and it's not there anymore. And then sun is there for a moment, it's not there anymore. Same goes with the moon, right? That's the story is about. You look at the sun or stars, you see the glory there, right? And then say that, okay, that's glory must be giving me the existence, must be giving me sustenance. And then he looks again and says, oh, wait a second, it disappeared. It cannot even sustain its own existence. How can it sustain my existence? That's the story is about. Right? Just like I keep giving the example. Once I said to my boss, I'm sorry, you cannot even guarantee your own salary. How do you think you can guarantee my salary? Right? That's the story of the Abraham. So that's the part, the setting part. Right? So before coming to love part, right? Because it's a tricky word, the love. Before coming to there, let's concentrate on this, whether it is my Lord or not. In your life, you see a lot of glorious things, right? You see your boss is so powerful. I mean, you look at him or her, and you see power there. You realize that, she says you are fired, and the person is fired. She says you are hired. Sorry? Oh, yeah. You are hired, and the person is hired, right? Hired, fired circle. Oh, yeah, exactly. So that's the glory, right? You see the power you see there. But then the next moment, you see that the boss is worried because the funding is not approved, and he doesn't know or she doesn't know what to do. Because if funding is not coming, if there's a new executive order saying that, what, I will cancel every funding which includes I don't know, the word subject in it. And it can happen. And your boss is so worried. I mean, we are funding, the proposal is full of word subjects. So what am I going to do? And you realize that, oh, wait a second. The glory I see there, I saw there, right? You cannot deny the glory. Just like when you look at the sun, the beauty, the power or brightness, it's there. You cannot deny it. But then you realize, oh, okay, it seems this power didn't belong to him. It was manifested there in naturalistic language. Everything was set up in a way that you would see power manifested there, right? You realize it doesn't belong to him, right? So that's the story about it. And so you look at these false idols and say that La ilaha. No, you cannot be the Lord. Previously, you thought it was your boss' decision whether you will stay at your work or not. Now you know that it's not your boss. Something else, I don't know what, but it's not my boss for sure. And you say, oh, maybe it is the academic system that is set up very nicely, right? No matter who is the boss, who is the PI, whatever. It doesn't matter. The system is well organized. and the power belongs to system, you say, this academic system, right? And so maybe it's, self-organizing system. The glory belongs to it, and this is my Lord. And I will pray that the system will not break, because the system will provide me the sustenance, you will say. And then the next moment, some people say that, oh, do you know what? Well, we are not happy in this campus. There are anti-something here. Doesn't matter what the second part is. We will break this system. And the system cannot protect itself. It's gone, right? In just a few TV discussions, commentators, and the system is gone. You say, oh, okay. The glory, the power doesn't belong to the system either. It was manifested there for a second. I saw it there, but it doesn't belong to it either. Another La ilaha you did. Same goes with the tricky examples as well. You look at your husband and you see something that you enjoy. The beauty. I mean, look at this gentleman, mashallah, right? Even I enjoy, right? You must be enjoying. You say, Alhamdulillah, such a beautiful thing, right? I enjoy it. Then that means my husband at least has a share in the creation, create something so beautiful, right? You see the glory there. You love it. You love the glory, what is manifested there. The next morning, he couldn't sleep well, right? He wakes up with a little bit skewed face. He forgot to brush his teeth, right? He says, Salamun alaikum, and he said, oh, alaikum salam, right? What happened to the glory, the beauty you observed? It was there, now it's gone. Happened to me all the time. It's gone. You say, okay, I enjoyed whatever manifested there, and I love it, but it seems it doesn't belong to him either. Right? He's just a mirror, just like my boss or the system, that reflects it for a moment, but sometimes does not. Even the choice doesn't belong to him. So, and then you say, La ilaha. It does not change your relationship with your husband in the sense that, you love him, etc. But you know that whatever you love there doesn't belong to him either. Okay? So that's let's say, the starting point. And we can continue maybe further about this love part. But this is what I understand from this text.
Jazakallah khairan. So, any other comments? So, what is the relationship between love here and, like, this is happening in Ibrahim alayhi salam's journey when he is seeking his sustainer, his Lord. So it's a journey of conviction. It's a journey of iman. How is the feeling of love playing a role in here? Like, either God exists or does not exist. Like, either tomato is your Lord or tomato is not your Lord. Like, what does it have to do with you loving tomato or not? Like, either tomato feeds me or it doesn't feed me. So, but in here, somehow in this journey, Ibrahim is not only reasoning about whether it sets, like, but he says, I do not love those that set. What is the role of love in this journey? What does it have to do here? Because apparently, if it has such a role in our journey, then that means abuse of love is going to be detrimental in this journey as well. Like, think of it the other way around. Human intellect has a role in our journey to find our sustainer. And we already know very well that abusing our intellect is being detrimental in our journey to find our sustainer. If I use my intellect in the wrong way, I end up saying that, oh, things happen by itself. And it changes slowly by this much and this much, and then it happens by itself. Voila, you have human being. It all started with the first two amino acids sitting on top of each other, whatever. I come up with some sort of a reasoning to say that there's no God. In here, there's another thing that we see, says, I love not those that set. And this is also part of the journey. How is that relevant? What does this tell us about the journey, Iman journey? And Iman, in this case, this is a follow-up text to the previous one. In the previous one, the author was looking into the troubles that he go through in life. And it was a very genuine feeling that he was going through, which he concluded by saying, I only have dua. I don't have anything more than my dua. And my purpose in this life, my role in this life is simply to be asking before my creator. So this text is also touching upon our feelings in a very interesting way. So this makes Iman a very genuine part of our very genuine journey. So where does this fit? We love things, and how can we mess up with loving in the wrong way? Sister Aisha is asking.
I was just thinking about maybe I guess we didn't define love, but one of the aspects of love that I think here is very relevant is the attachment. So the attachment that is formed from loving something is what is like the gift and the curse, kind of, because we know, I think when you start to attach, and then then the expectations kind of form. And so now whatever you have loved and attached yourself to, now you start to expect from it. And I feel like, I guess maybe the sense of when we say, when the text says, these things are not worthy, is really because you are expecting something that fundamentally these things cannot give to you. And so that I feel like that's why you poison yourself, because of this attachment and the expectations that come from it. It's kind of the way I was thinking about it.
I was also thinking to maybe build off of that. There seems to be a connection between the things I love and sort of seeking for this eternal beloved. So I feel like loving something is connected with my need for something eternal. So this expectation that I build from these things that I love seems to be that I think the things that I love are going to last forever. Hence, I love them. So, for example, let's say my family raised me. I see them all the time, and I start to think, excuse me, they'll be with me forever because they've been here all along. But
And
then,
by the way, your mom is online. But go ahead.
Yeah, she probably know what I'm talking about. But then I experience maybe a separation. Like I go off to college or something, and then I find out, it's not possible to be with them forever. And so that kind of love that I thought I had is I guess it turns into something else, like maybe fear, anxiety. Like now I have to maybe revisit this concept of love. Like, what is it that I truly like love or need in my life?
Actually, this was a good point because it's not that now that your mom is there also. Okay, I'm not going to love my mom. Or even when we talk about love, the next feeling that comes to mind is hate. Of from now on, I will start hating my mom. Like, of course, not this, right? Actually, this could be thought of what we have been discussing for the past 3 weeks about choice. So in the previous text, it was talking about foregoing your choice. But we said, how do you forego your choice? Like, still you do choice. Are you going to drink this coffee or not, right? So the choice is there, but still author was talking about foregoing choice. It sounds like a either totally nonsense suggestion if I take it literally. But the way we understood for the past week was my understanding of choice. This is what I am foregoing. Like I used to think that my choice makes a difference, creates something. But then we realized after 3 weeks discussion, we said that choice is for making dua. This is what the choice is for. Now, when we talk about love, and we know what love is, or we think we know what love is from childhood. Like if you ask Ali, he would say he loves candies and the ones with the apple flavor. Like he loves it. This is what love is, because he receives some sort of benefit from that candy. And as long as this benefit is there, he loves it. He's attached to it because he receives a benefit out of it. But now the author is digging this deeper. Do you really get benefit from there? It's correct. You do love things that you get benefit from. Is this really where you get benefit from? Because a byproduct of this love is attachment. If I am receiving benefit from elsewhere, but get attached to the wrong source, that will cause me trouble. So this is what we need to now revisit the idea of love, because it is very human to love something that you benefit from. With love, attachment, they are coming together, and whoever's beneficiary am I, then I will get attached to such a being. This is why love and iman is so related. Because iman means I have a sustainer, I have a provider. Then I would definitely love such a being with the true meaning of the word love. So do you see where this is going? Am I ascribing partners to my creator with my love? This is where this text takes us to. Because love is only to be directed towards wherever the benefit is coming from. So this is why it's tricky. Like actually, loving is also a matter of iman. Like it's not only prayer is a matter of iman or discussion is a matter of iman. No, loving is a matter of iman. And how do I utilize this love so that it's not going to be painful, harmful, if you would like to think about it from a utility point of view? I would like to love without pain. If you would like to take it from a fiqh point of view, how do I love so that it's not going to be haram? Like it is the same thing, but used in different words. How do I love so that the love is not going to be painful for me? In the flip side, how do I love so that it's going to be halal love? Or how do I love so that it's not going to be shirk? All three are the same words. They mean the same. But in our minds, maybe they are categorized differently. When it is iman, kufr, like it feels like, oh, I'm going into hell, so I better be careful. If it is halal, haram, or it's like eating pork and cow, like this sort of a thing. In fact, all three are the same thing. But author is taking it in the most genuine way, saying that loving the wrong thing is the source of your misery. It makes you get attached to things that are setting, and your heart is not made for that. This is why you are having this pain. Comments. Yes, we have a comment. And now we are going to listen a mother who loves his newborn son.
Okay, well, Assalamualaikum. No, all these keywords make me think of, there's something called, like, I'm sure many of you are familiar with attachment parenting, and all these theories and philosophies of how to parent your child so that they feel and they grow up secure, right? And part of it is that, like, I don't think my baby experiences love in the sense that I might love a flower or my mother at this point, but the baby knows I will cry, I will scream, and this lady will do what I need, whether it's give me milk or help me sleep or change my diaper, meet some need of mine. And I think much of how we experience love is whatever I love is meeting some need of mine, right? Like with my mother, it might be, oh, my mother is compassionate, right? And that compassion meets a need I have to be cared for. Or, when you get married, you're like, oh, this person makes me feel seen. They make me feel valued. There's a need there that's also being fulfilled somewhat. I guess as Ibrahim will grow up and have to experience it, like he will have to say La ilaha in the face of me, right? Recognizing that I am not the source of his needs, because even, with our own parents or people that we love, I might, like my mother might one day, just as I am, not feel as compassionate or run out of patience or show me that she's not the source of a certain quality that I am in pursuit of, right? Or as Brother Birkan was highlighting, my husband might one day display, maybe I love him for his humor and he starts making very unfunny jokes or things that annoy me, right? Which also happens quite a bit. So no, he's listening, so I specifically wanted to say that. So what I'm trying to say is that when we I'm thinking still about Natalia's initial question, which is how do I practically, approach then loving a person with this Quranic verse of I love not those that set. And I think it's that if I love someone for a certain quality, and I think that quality belongs to them, whether it's their kindness, humor, intelligence, whatever it is, beauty, it becomes a burden onto that person because they can't sustain it. They can't. Like my youth is flying away, my intelligence, my brain, it's going away, all these sort of things. Like I can't hold on to it. And so if a person loves me for that, it's on slippery ground. So it becomes a burden to the person that you supposedly love. And it also becomes a sort of despairing heartbreak for you when you see that this person can't sustain it, right? So I guess it's about how do I fulfill this need to attach my heart to express love in a way that properly or appropriately lastingly meets that need to love, I guess. I mean, I don't know if that part makes a lot of sense there, but yeah, I'll just pause there.
All of the comments have kind of reminded me of a practical problem, I suppose, I sometimes face with loving things where it feels like sometimes what I need is something that I've artificially created for myself. For example, like any type of addiction, like you think you need something and then but then like through using like reason and intellect you realize no, you don't actually need this, but then your heart is already attached. So I was thinking about how it might be actually pretty difficult to change that love that's already been developed and probably feels like bound to something that like your reason is telling you la ilaha illallah, but your heart is still like, how do you make the reason and heart work together, like reason and love and balance? Like, is iman like finding the balance between those two, or does it have being deficient in one mean a deficiency in iman or something like that? I guess I'm just trying to understand if you're like kind of faced with something like that where you know what you love is wrong, but you can't extricate from yourself from it.
Actually, you can't help it either. Like you cannot not love. Take it this way. Like if you know anybody around you, it's hard to apply it on yourself, maybe because people are not that smart when it comes to themselves, because they don't see how stupid decisions they themselves do. But pick up a close friend of yours who is so much in love with someone. They just met. They don't know the person that much. But like this happens a lot with the very like before marriage phases. You just met the guy twice or something, or boys. You met the girl for the first time or second time. You texted and she didn't reply within 5 minutes. And you get anxiety, like some stupid behavior as such. Right? So love is there. Like if somebody comes and says, are you nuts? Just behave properly. No, there's no logic at this point. This person is really blind and just loves at this point. No matter how much you try to reason with this person, it doesn't work. So you cannot say with this person not love. But what you can do is you can show whether what you love, is it really worthy of love? Like for instance, let me give an example with cars first. Somebody goes and enters into a lease with a red car just because it's red. And then a lot of money is being paid. But you need, like this person has a tendency to just jump on good cars. This is how that person is. He loves red, nice, shiny cars, right? So what do you do though in this case? What you can show that person is that love is going to cost you so much. Because you see some sort of benefit in there. You have this warm, nice feeling in there. But let me show you how much trouble will come to you because of this love. So since it's a feeling, you counter this with another feeling. You're saying that it's going to be super painful for you, and it's not going to give the benefit to you that you're expecting from it. Love something else. Yes, you have this desire to love, but this is not the correct address of your love. Change its direction to something that's worthy to love. This is what the author is doing in here. Says, I don't love those that said. He doesn't say, I don't love, or love is painful. From now on, I'm not going to love anybody. He's not saying that, because this is not human. Human do love, but certain loves are painful. What are those certain loves? If this love gets attached to something that sets, separation is hurting. So do not get attached to those that set. Your heart is not made for that. So your heart is made for a type of love which never sets. So author in here is trying to change the direction of our love. And that's all we can do. Otherwise, we cannot stop loving. Yes. And Ahmed will talk, and then we can give a break for Maghrib, because Maghrib time is squeezing. Inshallah, after Ahmed, we'll get a break, and then we'll get back to them.
So I'm the way I'm thinking about it is like how, like I know that the author is trying to point us towards the love that's truly worthy, and where you won't feel that separation, where you won't feel that pain. But like, again, we cannot stop loving as humans. Like, I wonder how strict is this? Because like there are times when I feel like the pain of that separation might serve as a good reminder of, oh, you were like channeling this love wrong, you know? So I'm trying to think about like these practical examples that I do feel love towards people. I do feel love towards, let's say, my wife, my parents who have raised me throughout my life, but they are setting. But even if, let's say, like Sister Aisha was saying, with the, like, if you love someone for an attribute, like they're pretty, you love them because of that, or they fulfill a specific need. But if that love continues, even though they're not fulfilling that need anymore, like, how do you reconcile with that then? Like, I don't think that, let's say my parents, if they love each other, I don't think that as they get older, because they're not beautiful anymore, they just stop loving each other, like, you're not pretty anymore. So there's all these aspects where I think practically I'm finding it very hard to just like ultimately immediately like just channel all my love towards the creator. And then also, like, I don't know how we're looking at the word love, because then there's correct me if I'm wrong, but there's a hadith by the Prophet where he says, none of you have believed unless you love me more than the world, their parents, and the whole mankind. That's another love. And technically, when you think about the Prophet, it's like, since he's human, he's setting, your love should be channeled towards Allah. So how do you reconcile all of this? Because practically I find it very hard to just like make this change. And I think even in a lifetime, it's a very hard task. You cannot just do it.
A lot of good questions. And inshallah, you're not going to spoil our prayer by thinking about those questions, but let us brew the questions, and inshallah, we will give a 10-minute break to Maghrib, and we will come back, inshallah. So before we stop, Ahmed was asking a group of questions. He was, in summary, what I remember was, how do I practically love anything then? Correct me if I'm missing anything. Because one of the examples that you showed was loving the Prophet ﷺ. So we are talking about loving another human being. And so much so that it's even mentioned that if you do not love me more than your parents, then you wouldn't be truly believing. So that love is also tied to belief then. So what do we mean then? If I'm not going to love anyone? Or let me correct my sentence. Prophet himself said, then what does it mean I'm not going to love those that said? Or else, I guess we can also ask it from reverse. Does Prophet said? So if you love a Prophet who says, is it really loving Prophet? We can also ask the same question in this regard then. When we say prophets, what is it that I'm loving in prophets? Am I loving a flesh and bones? Actually, for that problem, now that we are there, in the events that followed Prophet's death, والسلام, they mentioned that the people were so much upset, and Umar radiallahu anhu was so angry and he was saying that whomever says he is dead, I'm going to chop off their head. He just went like Moses to talk with his creator. He's going to come back. So he was that agitated at that moment. And then Abu Bakr radiallahu anh comes and says, whomever worships Muhammad should know that Muhammad is dead. But whomever worships the creator is ever living and never dies. So the creator is ever living and never dies. So in there, actually, that word of Abu Bakr radiallahu anh is making a correction for love. Like, what is it that you loved in the messenger? Were you loving the messenger because he was a mirror of the divine message to you with his life? Then that aspect is ever living. It never dies. But what you loved in the messenger, was it like a flesh and bones? Sure, definitely he's dead. Like, what is it that you love? Likewise, with your question about your parents, yes, let's say couples, and it does happen that, especially with rich men, this happens a lot, right? Wife gets old, man also gets old, but man is rich at this point. What do? They just, like, the love starts disappearing in there because the love was attached to a physical beauty which is not there anymore. But let's say your parents, like, they aged together, but their love increased over time rather than decreasing. So then that love was not built upon something that was decaying over time. So which should actually be a thing between you and Natalia as well. Like, upon what should this love be built so that as we age, it's not going to decay, but increase? So,
No.
Jazakallah khair. So I was thinking about some of the points from the text. One thing that attracted my attention was the distinction between, I think it was being like given something versus the thing that is given. So I feel like love sometimes starts out with like being focused on the outcome of something or the material benefit that you experience. But maybe like to change that, you need to shift that attention towards the idea that you are being gifted some of these like benefits, these qualities. They are things that are being given. So like qualities in like a husband and wife that you love, they're not just things that are meant to attract your, like, I guess they're not just meant to be things that you like appreciate for a short time and go away, but rather they carry a message that points to something eternal. I was also thinking about what we were talking about last time with the first part of the text, where the idea that your what was it? That aren't your troubles, like aren't your troubles enough of a cure for you? So I guess maybe the same thing would apply to not loving things that set. So this pain of separation, is that not enough of a cure for the separation? So looking at that pain and seeing that as a sign that there must be something more that can satisfy this need. So maybe connecting the 2 points in that way.
Jazakallah khairan. Maybe we can continue from the last point Zara made. Isn't this separation enough for you to find the permanence? This is the one, I guess, the core message in the text. The author says the sadness of separation is there, for you to find the permanence. So maybe we could try to understand that part. Just give me a second. Okay.
So, yeah. I think just to continue with where Brother Bikram was mentioning, as Ahmed was saying, this pain of separation in love is a useful wake-up call, yes. So in one sense, with his mercy, the Creator is putting this pain over there so that I wake up. But it's there intentionally put. But am I supposed to feel this? Yes, to wake up and go back. But shouldn't mean that since it's there, I have to taste it. I am trying to avoid it. But yes, in life, practically, we do fall into all these mistakes, as we were talking about it before. You will make mistakes. You will get attached to things that you're not supposed to. You will love things. You will love your car. And then a branch will fall on top of your car. And then you will realize that actually, like seriously, after that branch fell off top of my car, now it looks as it used to be after fixing and whatnot. But really, I have very little attachment to my car after this point because it's so fragile. Oh no, it's so fragile. Like a branch in a windy night in the across entire street only fell on my car. So like, so what? Like this is how something that you get attached to wrongfully, because I thought this is what it was. The giver of this beauty says, okay, I'm not taking it away if this is what you're getting attached to. So practically, these are wake-up calls, yes. And it's mercy of the Creator, correct? But then how am I going to readjust after this event? But still, I do see beautiful cars. Still, I do appreciate the beauty in there. But to what shall I get attached to? Because once I see the beauty and benefit, human attaches to it. So it is there. But to what shall I get attached to? So I'm replacing the word love with attachment. To what shall I get attached to? Shall I get attached to the car itself? Or it should immediately remind me that, no, this car is going to set. The real thing, the real beauty that you are looking for is not in the car. Because same thing goes with Imam Nursi, that I'm benefiting from him. I do love this person because I benefited so much from him. But where am I going to put this attachment to? Because he himself would say that it's not from me. Like, offer your thanks to the Creator. But still, I received this benefit from that person. So this shouldn't mean that I'm going to throw him into the trash can. No, I will look at him because through him, I am getting this benefit. Therefore, I'm going to keep him in my life, somewhere in my life. But I'm not going to be thanking him, but his Creator. Because he is, who is guiding me? Imam Nursi is not guiding me. My Creator is guiding me. But he does this by a creation, which is Imam Nursi's writings in this life. Tomato, like in these discussions, we all concluded that tomato is not feeding us, but nobody in here seems to be abandoning eating tomatoes, right? Still, you do eat tomatoes. What changed though? When you're eating tomato, you're not saying that, oh, how delicious of a tomato, but you tend to say that all praise to my Creator for tomato. So still, eating tomato didn't end. Loving someone didn't end. The nature of love has changed.
So maybe you already covered part that relates to how we love people, etc. So I want to take back to the other part now that you already covered it. So how we started, the Ibrahim alayhi salam, he looks at a star and says, I don't love those who set, right? So even from that, it's obvious what he's talking about when he says, I don't love. It's not the same thing we use in the daily language. Like you wouldn't use this word for star, right? So he's not talking about, how much Atiq loves his brother. It is maybe in same, similar thing, but he's using it for a different purpose. It's obvious. So when he says, I don't like those who sin, what I understand is that my heart, and when I say my heart, don't take it just as ephemeral feelings. Like I'm scared of this insect, or I like this ice cream, or I love when he smiles at me, right? Yes, this is, maybe part of it, but when I say my heart, it's almost my entire humanity, right? We're talking about. So one example, for instance, would be you see in a war zone, all these children die, killed, and you are disturbed. It's not just like, I don't like it. Oh, I don't like chocolate ice cream. I don't like people dying in Gaza. Right? It's not the same thing, right? Your humanity, entire humanity, is disturbed by it. It means I cannot accept this. There is any reality, there is no such reality in which I will be happily living with peace of mind within such a context. That's what it means. My entire humanity refuses it, right? You can take the opposite of it and apply it for love. When a mom takes care of a child, a needy child, you say, I love this. What it means, such an innocent need is sustained, and this fact is in sustenance of an innocent need, there is no possible reality in which I'm not fine with it. That's what it means, I love it. Your entire humanity accepts it, says this is right. Such an innocent need must be sustained, right? This is what you love. This is what it means, your heart accepting something or disproving something. Okay? As a human being, you cannot live with it, or as a human being, you cannot live without it. So when Ibrahim alayhi salam says, I don't like those who sin, he's looking for his sustainer. He looks at the star, or let's say sun, it will be easier. He looks at the sun, and for a moment, he thinks it is the sun through his light, because Ibrahim, as everybody knows, was a good physicist. He looks at the sun, and he says all the energy coming from the sun must be feeding all these, the plants, which becomes a food for the animal, which becomes a food for me. And the energy I need in my body, eventually sustained by the sun, he believed for a moment, or entertained this idea, right? That's what the story tells us. It's not talking about, oh, it's so yellow. I love yellow color. It's so warm. Oh, the lovely sun. It's talking about looking for the Lord. He entertained the idea that it is the sun gives me what I need. And then he says, but sun disappeared. My existence, my humanity cannot accept that something that cannot even sustain itself will sustain me. I cannot accept this, he says. Just like I cannot accept the children being killed, he says, I cannot accept this. Because if I entertain this idea, I will immediately find myself in which I'm trying to get sustained by something that is powerless, doesn't know me, doesn't have any knowledge, any will, any power. It's blind. I cannot live with such a reality, he says. Right? That's the love part, my understanding. He refuses it immediately. And then, of course, the story only says, I don't love those who sent, but it also this, the heart feeds into the mind, and mind says, yes, we should sweep it out. We should say La ilaha. Okay? So the heart, mind works together and refuses this false idol. So that's the love that he's talking about in this text. Okay? So how are we going to apply this to these, as author says, metaphorical loves? The things that looks like that in our lives, but it's not the same thing, right? How are we going to apply it to that? Like the parents loving each other, mom loving the kid, whatever. So when it comes to that, there's an interesting ayah in, Surah Furqan. It says, very rough translation, we created man out of water and then established relationships, attachments, or whatever you take, through blood or through marriage. The ayah goes like that. But the important part is that we established this connection. So what it means basically, when you find yourself in a relationship with someone, don't try to fool yourself saying that I'm in a relationship with this person because he's so beautiful, he's so intelligent, he's so that. No, you just found yourself in this relationship. You didn't even decide who will you interact with, etc. Somebody happened to be in your circle. You find yourself inclined toward that person. You cannot even explain, right? You can make up some stories. Oh, it's because of, his hair, or it's because of the mustache he has, whatever, right? You know that these are just stories. Not even close to reality, right? You just find yourself in this relationship. And you find yourself attracted to something. Who can explain why this child loves or likes, enjoy presence of her mom, but not another lady? What is missing? Nothing. Nothing is different, right? You can make up some stories like, oh, but biologically, you know that these are just made up stories, right? She just found herself loving her mom. So what's she going to do with that? That's the question. Is she going to take it as, oh, okay, then my mom is the one who sustains me because I need such a feeling, and this feeling is sustained when I'm with her? Is she going to take it that way? Or, just like Abraham did, entertain this idea for a moment, and then her humanity will say, no, I cannot accept such a reality. If such a feeling is only sustained by such a person, or this specific person, what will happen when this person leaves? I cannot accept that. Again, it is fact that you find yourself enjoy this person. There's no reason to try to fight with it. You enjoy the presence. But whom are you going to attribute to this enjoyment? So when we say, how are we going to channel our love to the Creator? It doesn't mean anything, channeling your love to your Creator. What does it even mean, loving your Creator? Only thing you know that you enjoy this person, right? That's the only thing you know. And then, as author does, you look at the creation and say that within this creation, there is nothing that can explain this enjoyment. Nothing in this reality can explain this enjoyment. It is still there. I can attribute it to my wife, or I can question, where does it come from? The enjoyment always will be there. And you will say, I am thankful to whomever, whatever, giving rise to this enjoyment. That's what it means to channeling your love to your creator. Whoever give existence to this enjoyment, I am thankful to him or to it. Right? Otherwise, don't fantasize that there's something called God, and you leave everything behind. You start loving him, hugging him, whatever. There's no such reality for you. Your reality is this creation. You enjoy things, and then you say, whoever created this, whoever gave rise to that, I'm thankful to him. And when this thing disappears in front of me, yeah, I will find myself in sadness as well. I will not fight sadness. I will be sad, but I will not be devastated. Because I know that the enjoyment I had was not coming from her or from him anyway. Now I will study my sadness. Is it because of the memory of my passing husband, this sadness? Or is it there again for another reason? Not by your past husband, but something else created by something else again. Now you will study your sadness this time. What does it mean again? I don't love those that sad. It means when you entertain the idea that my husband creates this enjoyment, that my husband only can create this enjoyment, your heart will refuse that idea. You won't be in peace with it. What happens when you try to refuse it, this idea, what your heart tells you? You find yourself in a so-called platonic love that doesn't give you anything. You will so much love your husband, and then you will find yourself like every moment fighting with him. That's what happens in practice. If you mislove someone, you will always end up fighting with him or with her, because your heart cannot accept it. You're trying to fool yourself that it's my husband that creates this enjoyment, and your heart and his heart as well refuses that, cannot accept that. And the manifestation is discomfort in the relationship. You will experience that.
And one final comment. There's also another problem that we have. Like, author in here is mentioning that I love not those that sad. But this is a very deep, introspective, conscious observation of that person. Because what is happening nowadays is, and I was astonished to hear this with one of my students. He was graduating, and I know that he was living with his girlfriend for like during the college. I said, okay, what are you guys doing? You're going to PhD. How about your girlfriend? He said, I'm not committed. Like, this is not a committed relationship, and then I don't know what she's going to do. That was a wake-up moment for me, because for that person, it is like that. I mean, all the loves are already transitory. I will taste it. It's going to give pain, and then I'll jump on another one. Like, this is how it is. And there's like, this person is not bothered by this. He says, yes, if I think about it, it feels like what you're saying, but nobody thinks about these things anyways. This is literally what he said. So this is why, to be able to say that I love not those that said is an important step. And Ibrahim alayhi salam was able to say this after challenging his father and his people's attitude. In this day and age, people are saying that, yes, I mean, we will die and we will become nothing. So then let's enjoy the moment. Yes, it sucks, but what else do we do? Like, you just accept that it sucks, and then you try to somehow, since everybody does it like this, you say, okay, then I'm going to do it like this as well. So if a person is able to stand up and say that, no, like, this is totally nonsense. The universe is so beautiful, and am I supposed to be the like sucker in this universe? It doesn't make any sense. There's something wrong with this. I don't love those that said. Then everything will follow. Because something similar was happening at today's discussion at Drexel. That student was asking that many of the students, many of the people that he knows, he was from Pakistan, are being away from religion because religion makes life harder. Like, if you believe in God, God just wants to test the ones that he loves more, so which means more challenge. I better not be in good terms with God so that I'm going to live a straightforward life. This was the comment. And we asked the room, and people had the common, like, this was somewhat of a common conclusion. People are saying that, yeah, religion makes life tougher for different reasons. Some of them said that, yeah, religion comes with its obligations and whatnot, it's hard. But the other aspect was, yeah, I mean, once you get into this, things become serious. Like, living a life, a heedless life, is easier. What we were trying to say in there was, is it really? Because from outside, it looks like hanging out with your girlfriend is something cool and nice, and it's just a easier path. If you read this text, author is saying just opposite. Loving those that said is a pain in the first place. It's a very hard life. Would you really like to go with this life? This is what the author is saying here. So I think in this regard, redefining love and whatnot will happen, but for it to happen, first I need to come to my senses. Do I really love those that said? And if I don't, then it's good. Why do I accept that this is how it's supposed to be? Because this is a huge problem that we have. Maybe we are not coming into this point that the author is mentioning in here up until later in our lives, after many times being upset about detachments and whatnot, and then realizing that I am not young enough anymore. I cannot yet jump on another love anymore. Like, my body is not accepting it anymore. Then we start saying this after a certain point. So this is why this is another thing to think about. Like, if it's not resonating, it might be that because I am on the bandwagon of the society which says, just jump on another one. Like, this is how it is. Any concluding remarks? No? Okay, inshallah, we can conclude with here for today's text and maybe start a new text next week. A very interesting text, inshallah. It's going to be about Satan for the next couple weeks. So inshallah, we will start, we will be reading from a separate book. From Flashes, inshallah. سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم وآخر دعواهم أن الحمد لله رب العالمين. الفاتحة.